All right, let's talk about something that, well, let's be honest, it probably makes most of us a little tense. Remote proctoring. You know that feeling, right? That little camera light staring at you during an exam. It's intense. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see what's really going on behind the screen.
I mean, it's the question we all have, right? Who is that person on the other side? Is it some AI? A super strict judge just waiting for you to mess up? Well, we're about to find out, because we're going to step right into the shoes of a real professional proctor.
In this quote, this is from Sarah. She's a professional remote proctor who's going to be our guide today. And right off the bat, you can tell her whole mindset isn't about catching you. It's about protecting the fairness of the exam for every single person taking it.
So let's start right there. Let's totally reframe who this person is. Because it's not just about watching a screen. It's a real profession with a mission that might actually surprise you with how supportive it is.
And get this, Sarah's background is really telling. We're not talking about some random person hired to watch a screen. She was a teacher for 12 years. She even has a master's degree in education. And like thousands of her colleagues, she actually comes from an education background because she genuinely believes in making sure tests are fair.
In fact, a term they often use to describe themselves is fairness protector. Think about that for a second. The goal isn't to look for guilt or make you nervous. It's to create a level playing field so that your hard work, your honest effort, is the only thing that gets you your grade.
But you don't just wake up one day and become a fairness protector. It takes some pretty serious intensive training to get there.
So get this, before a proctor like Sarah is even allowed to monitor a single exam, they have to go through more than 40 hours of initial certification training. I mean, that's a full work week just to get certified to start.
And this isn't just about how to use the software. Oh no, they're trained in behavioral detection, how to tell a nervous tick from a cheating tactic. They learn about strict privacy laws, cultural sensitivity, disability awareness, and even how to handle a crisis if a student is having a panic attack. It's incredibly human-focused. And that 40-hour week, that's just the beginning. After that, they have to work in a kind of apprenticeship, supervised by senior proctors. And even after they're certified to work alone, they have to get recertified every single year. The training really, truly never stops.
Okay, so now that we know just how much training goes into this, let's actually step inside Sarah's world. Let's see what a typical shift looks like and how all these principles play out in some really tough, real-world situations.
So, imagine this. Sarah's watching a test, and she sees a student, we'll call her Sophia, who keeps looking down over and over again. Now, the big question is she cheating, or is that just how she thinks? You know, her little habit. It's a real dilemma. If you jump in, you could totally throw off an innocent student. But if you wait, maybe you miss something. What's the right call?
Well, she basically has two main choices. Option A, intervene right now. The risk? You could be wrong and completely disrupt Sophia's concentration for no reason. Or there's option B, silently document. Note every single time she looks down with a timestamp and then flag the recording for the school to review later. It assumes innocence first.
So what does she do? She goes with option B. And this quote from her really says it all. She sees her job as being an accurate witness, not the judge and jury. Her role is to gather clear, objective evidence so that the school, the actual decision maker, can make a fair and fully informed call.
Okay, so that's the gray area. They're trained for that nuance. But what about when it's not gray at all? What happens when it's just a crystal clear violation, like someone literally puts their phone on their desk? Well, the protocol for that is just as methodical. It doesn't start with an accusation. It starts with a simple direct chat message. Please remove the phone from your desk. If that doesn't work, a formal warning comes next. And every single action, every message, is documented with timestamps and flagged for review. The first goal is always to correct the behavior, while making sure the incident is on the record.
Now, after hearing about these intense judgment calls, you might be thinking that a proctor's day is just a constant stream of flagging incidents. But when we look at the actual data from a typical shift, the reality is very different.
And here's what's so fascinating. After a whole shift of this intense focus, you'd think there'd be flags all over the place, right? But look at the data. A whopping 92% of exams go off without a single problem. Not one. All of that training is really for that tiny 8%, which just goes to show what we kind of already knew. Most students are just trying to do the right thing.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, first, proctors are highly trained professionals. Their goal is fairness, not punishment.
And a huge part of their job relies on human judgment to understand context. But maybe the biggest thing is that most of the time they intervene, it's not to bust someone, it's to help them with a tech problem, like their mic not working.
And I think this final thought from Sarah really brings it all home. For her, catching a cheater isn't just about enforcing some rule. It's about defending you and every other honest student out there who put in the work and deserves for that effort to be what matters most.
So, I guess I'll just leave you with this to chew on. Now that you've kind of met the person behind the screen, a real fairness protector, not just some faceless guard, does that change how you feel about that little camera light the next time you sit down for a test?